This episode of Convert to Raid is brought to you in part by World of Tanks. Play for free and help directly support this show by heading to ctrdeal.com/tanks. Welcome home, Raiders. This week, 5.4.8 will be hitting the PTR and changes are interesting. Alpha gets delayed and you're going to want to gem and reforge for our special guest. This is CTR 143.
You're listening to Convert to Raid, the podcast for raiders in the World of Warcraft.
Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Today is May 18th, 2014, and it is now 11:08 a.m. Central Daylight Time. And thank you so much for joining us from all around World of Warcraft land. And hello, my name is Pat Krane. I am your host of the show. I'm also called Zug around Airy Peak, US, and still raiding. Still doing the thing, still doing the resto thing. Joining me this week, we have one of our regular players back and a new player to have some fun with. And the first one is, let's go out to Serene, Seattle. Serene, Seattle, and it's Dairies.
Hi.
Hi, buddy.
Good week this week. I'm really good. I'm happy. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Because there's no Coltrane and no fortune cookie.
That's right. Coltrane is in Russia. He's in Russia.
We haven't heard from him, so.
No. We believe he's still in Russia, not in a gulag at all.
Possibly.
Although, if he told a fortune cookie, we cannot guarantee that.
It's likely someone got him at that point. Someone recognized his face.
Right. So, to permanently replace Coltrane, no, not really. From Ask Mr. Robot, we have Zoopercat. Hey, Zoop.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, how's it going?
Pretty awesome.
Good.
It's like 9 in the morning. That's a pretty big deal for me.
Good. And you kind of had a late night too, didn't you? So you had to wake up special for this show.
Yes, we went to a roller disco birthday party.
Wow. So how was that? What was going on there? You said it was a dirty 30 roller skate party, and I'm like, whoa. That sounds intense.
Yeah. Yes. So you had to dress up, 70s attire. So that was fun, trying to find, the right costume. I actually owned everything. I didn't have to buy anything. And then Yellow Fiber developer went too, and he owned white polyester pants already.
Wow.
So all I had to do was go out and find him an orange shirt with a little gold medallion, and he was all set. Wow. So then you go to this roller rink, and there is a crazy collection of people. There's most people are awkward on roller skates like us. It's like you're roller skating. When's the last time you did that?
Yeah. Right.
And then you get there were 3 random people that were pretty amazing. And so I stopped to talk to one of them, and he does this 3 or 4 times a night. He wants to be a roller skate teacher. Don't know the other guy's story. And then there was a third girl who had a pod with earbuds and just skating to her own beat.
Nice.
Not really sure what's going on there, but
nice.
She seemed happy.
All right, cool. Yeah. Well, that's good. Well,
so I made it home.
Yeah, that's good, and you made it here, which is really good. So thank you for doing that, because I know that you're on the west side as well, and you had to make special efforts on this wonderful Sunday morning. So thank you for joining us for sure. Let's talk a little bit of World of Warcraft and what we've been up to lately. And Darius, why don't you kick it off?
Been raiding with the Asparagus Initiative.
Yeah.
Per usual. I did miss one night last week. I missed Sunday night. And apparently that was the most productive night that Asparagus Initiative has ever had. Probably because I wasn't there.
Probably.
Which is sad.
We actually went through and cleared a bunch of bosses so that we could work on progression.
Cleared all the way 2 spoils without me there in 4 hours.
That was amazing. That was good. Good job, guys. And and then what happened on Monday?
And then we spoiled spoils. We went in there and we killed it with but 30 minutes left in the night. So that was really good.
Yep.
That was it was one of those pulls too where the first 30 seconds, maybe a minute, I felt like everything was going wrong and I was like, oh, we're gonna wipe. This isn't gonna go well. And then we just kind of kept eking out little things and eventually made it to the end and killed it with a few seconds to spare too. So it was a weird kill for me because I didn't feel like it should have happened. But
I think it was roughly 3 seconds we had to spare on the clock before we blew up. So that was good though. And it was we didn't actually have we didn't have that many pulls on it, I don't think. We were wiping to like the first part a lot as we kind of learned how the fight was different from normals. But I think once we got to that second part, then it seemed to go a lot better. You know what I mean? So that it's as soon as we got into the second room, we didn't have as many pulls overall as we did on that first room by itself. So that's the way it felt anyway.
I count 52 total pulls before kill, but a lot of those, I'd say almost half of them, it was a wipe within the first minute or so.
Right. Right.
Just because something would go wrong, you'd get 3 people to die right away.
Yep.
Something like that. But that's an interesting fight. I like it as a tank when you get the tank buff. You know, when I'm doing 600k DPS, because as a prop pally, I don't get to do numbers like that.
No, you don't.
No. And now we get to go on to Thok, which will be well, it'll be
Thok.
I'm not going to be raiding for a few weeks, so that's how excited I am for Thok.
Right. Well, and maybe this is like the perfect time for me to move.
Yes, exactly. We should all just move and not attempt Thok.
Right. I'm kind of happy to be moving right now because I see Thok and I'm like, as a healer, I don't know. I don't know if I'm really grooving on that fight. I'll just see you guys later. I'll see you guys in like a couple weeks as I move my stuff. And
I think the plan is both tanks are going to go prop pally. All the healers are going to go holy pally, and then all the DPS are going to go hunter. So that's the plan. We're just going to have 16 hunters in there.
All right.
And it should go pretty easily at that point. I mean,
cool. Cool. Awesome. I like it. All right. So
no shortage of pre-pulls.
Right. So Zoopercat, or I'll call you V from time to time because I know that's real name, game name type of thing. Anyway, so what have you been up to in game lately? Have you been raiding and doing the thing or what?
Yeah, so we were doing heroics earlier this year. Got up to spoils. No, I take that back. You just said you got up to spoils.
Yeah.
It's Sunday morning. We got
after a rough night
down. We got the first 4 down and had started working on Galacras when everyone ended up having conflicts. Somebody's moving or somebody's graduating and working on a thesis or whatever crazy thing. So we decided to take a break until the first week of June. So right when we launched, our Combat Log Alpha, we weren't raiding, which is kind of funny.
Right.
So anyway, we plan to pick it back up in summer, in just a few weeks, like probably middle of June, we'll start again, hoping we can keep the team together.
That's cool.
But then you have summer vacations, so you never know.
Yeah. Yeah. The summer bug gets into everybody and they're like scattering. So, and who knows?
Right. And not to mention summer bug plus the slow, content right now. So.
Right. Well, I mean,
yes.
And we'll get into this in a little bit, but I mean, I know that Alpha has been delayed a little bit more. And so I don't know how badly that's going to throw off the schedule for summer stuff or whatever, but it's all in flux. So we'll see when 6.0 hits and all that kind of stuff as well. So I don't know. Kind of worried about it. Now we do have some stuff to talk about, and we will talk about Ask Mr. Robot, what is going on there a little bit later in the show, if that's okay. I mean, we can talk about it along the way as well. Sure.
Wait, are you saying I can ask the robot or ask the robot?
Yeah, you can ask the robot. You can ask.
Confusing. I know
it's very confusing. It's very early in the morning.
We definitely need a chart for this.
For you guys, yeah.
Flow chart.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit about some different things. Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about. Something with me this week because I'm trying something new. I decided to try something new, and I
heard you were going for fried chicken.
Yeah, no, I am. I totally am. I'm doing it. So now instead of this week, and I realized that I had the foreset for my off spec, and my off spec is balance. So I'm like taking this time now that things have slowed down a little bit for other content outside of the game. So I thought that I would take some time and really try to learn how to chickenate, how to do the boomkin thing.
And I'm talking about funny.
And every time that I go into my off spec now, I think of something and I couldn't not do something about it because I've been thinking about it so much. So I decided to write it out, put it down, lay it down. I don't know, in audio form for everybody out there. So you could celebrate with me as I try this wonderful new spec. I'm actually DPSing, so I'm just gonna play this song. It'll be a couple minutes. It's a nice laid back Sunday morning song. Here we go. All right, boys, I am no longer your combat log. No, I have turned over a new leaf. I never knew that a druid like me could take a break from resto and stop healing and switch to balance. From Molten Core to Naxxramas, Older War to Dragon Soul and then the Siege of Orgrimmar. They know me though, cause I be putting in work. Oh, I still have rebirth, it's just that now I'm a bird, not a resto nerd. No, I'm gonna pound bosses down. Some say my deeps is lacking, but hear my thunder cracking. Yeah, I'm new on the scene, but it's alright, it's alright. And I know I see you smiling at me, but it's alright, it's alright. Well, here come the ready or not battle chicken, shut your mouth. Here come the ready or not. How you like me now? Here come the ready or not. I'll take your best shot. Here come the ready or not. How you like me now? Is that all that you got?
On fire.
I'll take your best shot. Is that all that you got?
Starfall.
I'll take your best shot. Is that all that you got?
Star Surge.
I'll take your best shot. Is that all that you got?
Eclipse.
I'll take your best shot. Is that all that you got?
Sunfire.
I'll take your best shot. Is that all that you got? Feel my wrath. Here come the ready or not battle chicken, shut your mouth. Here come the ready or not. How you like me now? Here come the ready or not battle chicken, shut your mouth. Here come the ready or not. How you like me now? Just a laid back Sunday morning song for everybody. I don't know. I just thought I would play that little thing.
There's a lot of zero bongos in there. A lot of people didn't like that.
I don't know why. And I just realized that were you guys able to actually hear that?
Nope. I've heard it before, so I played it over in my head.
Right.
I was singing along.
I apologize to you guys because I had it switched wrong. The live feed could hear it, but you guys couldn't, and that's not great because that was an awesome song. So maybe I should play it again just for you guys.
No. Our life is better for not hearing it again. Trust me.
That was a POD ripoff of Boom. And the video that you guys also couldn't see because it was on a different computer. That was provided by Hotted and by Zoomkins, two of the best Boomkins out there doing different things, and PvP and PvE. Great guys, and I've got to meet them both at BlizzCon last year, and I'm psyched to see them again this year. BlizzCon. Zoop, you going to be going to BlizzCon this year?
We are. All three of us.
Awesome.
And Mr. Robot. Yeah.
And the robot is coming too?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What?
That's cool.
There's an actual robot?
Yeah. He just doesn't usually make public appearances.
Wow.
I need to go to BlizzCon now.
I know.
Wait.
Oh, wait, we are.
I think I'm already going.
We are. All right. So that was my, all right. Getting back on track after the song.
There's no coming back from that.
I know.
We should just end the show
We probably
now.
should. We probably should. All right. Let's talk a little bit about what's been going on. And we have some stuff that was going on before the actual Raiden news, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But first of all, Dairies, did you see this this new thing this week? This little 33% off sale on your hats? Yeah,
the hats. The hats are all 33% off. It's buy two, get one free.
Right.
Basically. So I bought another 9.
Because the ones I had, first few weren't enough.
They were getting kind of dusty. I hadn't used them in a little while.
Right.
You know, and I wanted to make sure in case I lost any, I had extras.
Right.
You know how it goes. So
right. No,
I just in case I bought a bunch more.
I get it.
If anyone needs a hat, there's lots of hats. I got hats.
Right. Now
they're like this is turning into Team Fortress 2. They're just gonna release hats whenever they want to make money.
Zoopercat, do you do stuff like that? Did you buy the hats at all? Because I have not bought the hats. No.
Me neither. But I also don't wear, like, if I wear a hat, it's like, fedora hat, and it's because I didn't brush my hair.
Right.
So.
No, I get that. I get that. No, the hats. What is going on, Dairies? Your cat is. All I saw was cat butt. Nice work.
That's the two of us.
Nice work. Yeah, I'm not big into the hats, but I know that Dairies bought them the first time around, so I had to throw them into the news.
I have a problem.
Yes, you do. And you're going to actually have more of a problem because they have new mounts coming out, and one of them is probably going to be hitting the store.
Mm.
The what was it? The Grinning Reaver?
Grinning Reaver, yeah. The
oh my God.
Manted snake, no, scorpion, I don't know. It'd probably be like $90, and I'll buy 6 of those too.
It is wicked looking. Now, Zoop, do you buy mounts at all for the games?
No, not usually.
Right.
We have friends who end up always buying mounts. The friends that are like, I don't know what to get you for the holidays. I'm like, cool. I'll take a Fey Dragon.
Sure. Oh, that was
if they sold like shoes, like Murloc shoes, that would be amazing. I would buy those.
So you'd buy like transmog where you can like transmog
shoes
yourself
for
into
your Murloc,
or transmog yourself into a Murloc.
Oh,
that would be awesome. Do you like a Murloc skin for people? Oh,
I mean, both would be kind of awesome.
Come on, that'd be sick. That'd be awesome,
right?
That'd be great.
I think it'd be nice if when you bought these hats and these mounts, it actually bought it for your entire account instead of me having to buy 11 mounts and 11 hats at once.
Dairies, it is actually for your entire account.
What?
It's account wide.
What?
It's account wide. It's account wide.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, everybody knows that except you.
I'm gonna need a refund.
Except you don't know that. And then one last thing before getting into the Raiden news. Is that the Night Elf female came out, the new model for the Night Elf female. What race do you play there, Zoopercat? You're out over on the Horde side, right?
Yes, we actually just switched to Horde side last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I play a druid, a Tauren druid, healer, resto.
Very cool. So
look at me and my lingo.
So now you were Alliance before. What did you play before?
A druid.
Were you Night Elf?
I think.
Yeah. So what do you think of? I
think Night Elf.
What do you think of the Night Elf female look? The new look that they've come out with.
I thought they actually did a pretty good job with it. I thought it was kind of fun.
Right on.
I liked, the vampire teeth.
Oh yeah, the vampire teeth.
I didn't even know they had vampire teeth until there was this big to-do about how they didn't in the artwork.
I know.
Right.
I know. It was crazy.
Well, but if you think about it, they're night elves. Now, this is me showing how much lore I don't know, but you could see how a night elf might have vampire-y teeth, right?
Right. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. Everyone who knows lore is going to be like, no, here's where they came from. And I know. Sorry.
I don't know. I mean, it was kind of like this. It was kind of like the in the art craft, in the blog post that they put out with this, it said that, trying to preserve the iconic night elf look, beautiful, wild, and dangerous. And I never really thought of night elves as dangerous. I thought of them as kind of pompous, maybe.
Yeah.
But not really, kind of snooty, kind of like those dudes at Whole Foods, but not really.
Yeah, you're right.
not really dangerous. Right. I mean, it's.
You're not. Yes. Dude, that's it.
They're going to give you a look for not buying the like organic, locally sourced water.
Exactly.
You're gonna buy the other
you go
water.
In and you ask for I don't know, Doritos, and they look at you like, ugh.
Yeah,
try these soy chips. They're so much better for you. Seriously, what are you doing?
Don't go in there without your own shopping bag. You will be
never.
If you ask for a bag. For those people that aren't in California, it's totally illegal. You have to pay for bags now.
Yeah, yeah.
They will put your face on a poster on the front door.
It's like you just starved children.
Right.
If you ask for plastic.
Right. Anytime you go to Darnassus, just bring your own bag. That's it. That's it. You can't you can't move around there. You can't shop there in peace. They won't leave you around alone if you try to.
No.
Plastic? Really? Ugh.
Honestly, though, who goes to Darnassus? When was the last time you went to Darnassus?
This is true. So
even the night elves don't go there anymore because it's too snooty.
Right.
Okay, you know what? The sun's coming in, and I think I need to turn this around, or I'm going to continue to glow here.
Oh boy.
Carry on while I move.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Well, why don't I take this time to talk about our sponsor? Why don't I take this time to talk about our sponsor, which is World of Tanks. That's right. With World of Tanks, they have the 9.0 update, and everything is going along swimmingly for that. And if you haven't heard what the 9.0 update is, it's basically historical battles, and it's pretty cool. So you can do things like actually the Battle of the Bulge, Operation Spring Awakening, stuff like that. And let me just roll some B-roll there for you guys. And if you've heard of World of Tanks and you know World of Tanks, you will know that it is a free-to-play game. And by free-to-play, they don't mean that it's, hey, you have to pay money to unlock stuff. No, you can unlock everything just right within the game as you play. So it's pretty cool. You don't have to pay any money, totally free. And you can actually help this show by going to our URL, which is ctrdeal.com/tanks. So you can go there, try it, download it, totally free. Again, they've got new textures, new tanks, all kinds of different stuff. ctrdeal.com/tanks. All right. Well, let's head.
At E3 the other year, they brought a whole tank. They just drove in a tank.
Oh, really?
To yes,
wow.
Outside E3. I'm looking for a picture here.
Wow.
Those guys are really cool. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's a cool game too. I thought that there would be, I thought it would be a lot super fast action and stuff like that. But as I play it now, the more I realize that I have to be sneaky about it because I get blown up so easily.
Yeah.
I just go through it and I'm like, oh, I'm dead after after a second, I just go charging straight in there and this guy who's just comes in and blasts me in no time whatsoever. So I'm like, okay, maybe I should creep up in the bushes.
You got to use more cooldowns.
Yeah. Yeah, more cooldowns.
My thought of World of Tanks when you say it is just a giant PvP arena full of prop paladins.
Kinda. It kind of is that. Kinda. But it's actual tanks. So.
All right. That makes a lot more sense.
Right. All right. Well, let's go into the raid news.
Calling all raiders from around World of Warcraft land. This is raiding news.
All right, it's time to check out what's happening with raiding news around World of Warcraft. And first up is that World of Warcraft patch 5.4.8 is on the PTR, or is it coming to the PTR? Either way, the 5.4.8 and the PTR. And there are some interesting kind of things going on with 5.4.8, including a new upgrade. Darius, what's going on with the upgrades for 5.4.8?
So they, in the past, decided that upgrading gear didn't work, so they would take it out towards the end of a content patch or things like that, and they're probably going to take it out in WoD. So naturally, they're going to allow you to upgrade gear even more in 5.4.8. They're going the opposite direction. So you're going to be able to upgrade your gear twice more for a total of 16 eye levels.
Yeah. So you
up
can,
over what it is when it drops.
So you can upgrade 4 times essentially, and I think all of World of Warcraft went, okay, all right, okay, this is another thing. Now, Zooper, what do you think about this new upgrade thing with 5.4.8?
Yeah, so we'll have to, support some of that stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean,
we're like, la 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 la, cool combat log. What?
Right.
I think it's kind of cool, like a cool way to give people gear upgrades, because otherwise, you get stagnant. So it's kind of nice that if you're having a hard time with the current content, you have a nice way to kind of get through it. So I think that's actually pretty helpful, because all the hardcore people who've wanted to beat it on heroic already beat it.
Right.
They've got their leaderboards and stuff.
Right.
So actually, I think it's a nice thing, a nice little bone to throw to people.
Sure. And I get it. I mean, if you're having trouble on any boss, you want that extra. You need the extra juice to get over that hurdle. For you or your team. And so I understand kind of why they're doing it, but at the same time, it doesn't feel particularly like compelling. I know that they're always talking about compelling gameplay over at Blizzard, and this just really doesn't feel very compelling. It feels like they're artificially extending the tail, as they call it, of the raid.
Right.
This is their way of, instead of nerfing all the bosses or buffing all the players, this is their way of doing that.
Right.
Across the board, you're looking at content. If you upgrade all of your pieces, you're looking at about a 15% increase in primary stats, stamina, things like that, just from upgrading another 8 eye levels. So it's a 15% buff, basically.
But you have to earn it.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is you got to get a whole lot of valor to get there, and they are making that easier with. You'll be able to turn in your timeless coins, which are sitting there doing nothing.
Nothing.
Into valor, yeah.
Right.
And then there's this buff they keep adding and taking away to the PTR, Heart of the Valorous, which increases your valor point earnings by 100%.
Yeah.
So, it should make it pretty easy to valor cap every week. You're looking at 1,500 coins or timeless or 15,000 timeless coins if you got those, or like 4 or 5 heroic scenarios, something like that. I mean, it should be really easy to valor cap.
It should be. Yeah.
Should be.
Sure.
It should be.
For sure. 3,000 timeless coins will get you 100 valor points, but with the buff, you get 200. Is that the way that it works?
Yeah.
So
that's if this Heart of the Valorous buff makes live.
Right. So, I mean, it's kind of weird, though. I just don't know if I like it. I mean, I understand it, but I feel like that kind of, I mean, for me, I like challenges, and I like the fact that I have to earn gear through downing bosses, and that seems cool to me. The upgrade system has never felt good, and considering that they're getting rid of the upgrade system for Warlords, it just doesn't seem like, it's very interesting to them either over at Blizzard.
Yeah. All right. What I'm hoping with this is that this is their way of saying, oh shoot, we need to do something for the end of Siege of Orgrimmar, a buff or something like that. But all of our resources are being spent on Warlords of Destruction. So
I gotta make a sounder for that. Warlords of Destruction.
So what do we do? And then they had some poor intern come up with this solution, which everyone hates, but no time to go back. So
right.
It's always the intern's fault.
It is.
If something gets added that no one likes, it's the intern's fault.
So
the intern intern decided the trash before Sindragosa. It decided the trash on the bridge in Tot.
Oh boy!
And the intern came up with this idea.
The intern. We got to give him a name.
Yep.
Steve
Intern
the
Bob.
intern. Yeah, something like that. Now, Zoop, as far as it goes for you, for Ask Mr. Robot, I mean, how has the upgrade system been for you guys? It makes the data a little bit tricky, right?
Right. Yeah. So the data, it's not hard to get the upgrades. Like we actually do it automatically because there's a formula where you can figure out the new stats on the upgrades. The hard part is the algorithm for optimization. So when you open one of those gear lists and you see your 50 other swords that you could get, we have to do all of the upgrades in that too, and so that can start to bog down the servers. So we're pretty clever. So now they're adding another 2 levels. We're like, all right, throw a few more servers up.
Oh, jeez.
So it's not too much work to support it. It's just making sure that the servers can handle all of that extra processing power.
Right.
So yeah, that'll be fun.
How much? I don't know what the right question is here, but I want to ask about how much data you guys have just in general about the game that you guys have to have it at your fingertips all the time.
Right. So gear data is the big one.
Yeah.
And thank God for Curse because they help us out so much. They've got the API, and then whenever these expansions or patches come out, we double check all of the item stuff. Like we run through a program or something that looks for oddities, like things that stick out, like, oh, there's a 553 item with 5,000 stamina, or not stamina, 5,000 mastery, and you're like, that doesn't seem right. So then, Curse is great at dealing with my frantic, Monday night emails. Hey, can you scan the game again? I think something's wrong.
Right.
And they do it. And then they send us the data. And if we send them, hey, we have a user who said that this item is wrong, we send them that information and they fix it within like an hour, if not sooner.
Wow.
And the other thing that I learned from them that's really cool, I'm like, hey, I think something's wrong in your data. They're like, oh, all right, we'll check. But they automatically update now. Like if you have that Curse in-game add-on that's like, the one that like scans all of the data and data mines for them.
Yep.
It's constantly uploading to their servers or something like that. So if an item changes in game, they're actually very quickly automatically picking it up, like during the like hot, like the hot fixes where not every little thing ends up being announced. So yeah, so they are super handy. So that's the big thing we need. And then everything else is just trying to figure out like upgrade formulas, because they don't have to worry about the gear data. Like right now we don't have the data on the gear, but we can do the formula and know what it's going to be. Yeah. And then for the combat logs, I got to hand code every single buff like, source.
Oh man!
Like if it buffed your healing, buffed your damage, I categorized that by hand. That was a lot of fun.
Oh,
I like read 6-digit codes in my sleep.
Wow! Wow! That
but
is
one of those things. It's like you do it once and you're done, right? You don't have to maintain it, really.
Let's hope so.
So,
Imagine
until Warlords comes out.
Yeah, until Warlords, and then you're screwed again, or until 6.0, and then it's like everything's off again.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons we only support level 90 characters right now. People are like, oh, my level 80. I'm like, that's cool, but all of the stat like calculations.
That's cool. Have fun being 80. We'll be over here when you turn 90. It's fine.
You'll have level 90 stats. If you want to optimize it.
Right.
Give your character a little buff here. That's pretty cool.
Oh man.
But we're considering, we haven't decided what to do for Warlords. We've always kind of wanted to help you during the leveling process, but at the same time it's so short. We haven't decided if it's like worth our time.
Especially if you get the boost. If you get the
Right.
boost, it's no time at all. It's then you're fine.
Right.
So
Right.
There are a few raid teams out there that do old content that stop. They stop earning experience at 60, 80, 85, those
Right.
things. But
right. Like iTunes. They've done that
Yes.
for a while. The guild over on where are they at?
Korgath?
Yeah, Korgath, US.
Yeah.
So the iTunes project, those guys went through, and because I rolled with them when I was 60, and then I stopped because I was busy doing other things, unfortunately. And I know that they've gone into ICC. I don't know how they've been doing lately, but I haven't kept up with them. So let me know, guys. Let me know what's going on. But no, that's always fun. But I mean, it's twinking out a level 80 is so much different than getting the right gear for a level 90 for something that's level capped.
Right.
So
right, and it's hard. You don't have theory craft unlike these, and
Right.
since it's all stat weight based, or at least it is in the current content, that's kind of hard to be like, well, we think these would be good stat weights for a lady, but so why bother optimizing that if it's just like, nobody really cares.
Right. I got it. And the other stuff that came out this week. So that's kind of what's going on for 5.4.8. We've got the 2 more upgrades. We've got the buff, the Heart of the Valorous. We've got. Was there anything else going on with this that is really the timeless coins, using 3,000 timeless coins for Valor, which is a good way to use up that stuff. I wish I could just, at the end of an expansion, just like throw that stuff away. Like throw those coins away and just go, I don't want to think about it anymore. I don't want it listed on my character at all.
They're just going to fill up your currency screen.
That you have 100,000 coins left of, whatever. I don't care. Just get rid of it. It's fine. So another thing that happened this week was that we found out some data about Siege of Orgrimmar, more Siege of Orgrimmar data. And you guys are both data nerds, so I'm sure that you probably find this pretty cool. Darius, what kind of data are we looking at for this?
So MMO Champion did a scan of 7.3 million characters across 2.3 million accounts that have all at least been active since March 15th to look at kill data for Siege of Orgrimmar. The first thing they took a look at was percentage of players that have defeated Siege of Orgrimmar bosses and what difficult they did. So LFR, Flex, Normal, Heroic. And they broke that down. So you've got about 70% of active players have killed the first wing in Siege of Orgrimmar, in LFR at least, which is pretty good, I think. 70% of your community, of your active community, have gone in and cleared at least one whole wing of Siege of Orgrimmar. Current content, they've seen it, they've experienced it. They've seen all the hard work that they've put in, which is pretty good. Even up to, it's almost 50% of players have cleared all the way through Garrosh and LFR, that's pretty darn good. That's much better than the 10% that they were seeing in previous expansions. So
yeah,
this is definitely working, and I expect that number will go up even more in Warlords. So
for just raiding in general.
Yeah, just people that have killed or cleared everything via LFR. If they're going to be making it easier, they're going to be making it more of a sightseeing kind of thing, as Ghostcrawler put it, tourist mode.
Yep.
Then I expect that number to go up as it allows more and more people to access it. So, but I also expect these numbers, like we see here, Flex, Wing 1 of Flex is about a 40% participation rate. So 40% of active players have killed all the way through Shaw of Pride, which is, again, that's flexing is it's raiding. It's slightly easier than normal, but that's still raiding.
Right.
And to see 40% of people clear that is pretty good. And I expect that number will go up even more again in Warlords as you get more people into LFR and more people into what'll be normal in Warlords. So
right.
This is pretty good numbers.
Yeah. I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
I think that the drop off they have is where it should be. You've got 70% for on Immersia, 70% LFR, 40% Flex, about 30% normal, and then Heroic is about 10%. I think that's exactly where it should be.
And these are for the first bosses anyway.
Yeah. It obviously drops the further you go into the expansion.
Right. I mean,
or into the
Garrosh is at like what, 1%, something like that.
Yeah, it's maybe 2% have killed Heroic Garrosh.
Right. We're gonna get there, damn it. We are on Asparagus Initiative. We're gonna get there.
We're pretty close.
Yeah. Now, V, what do you think about all this data that was kind of mined from MMO Champion here?
I actually thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised it was as high as 2% for Heroic Garrosh, for overall. I thought that was pretty. That's pretty hardcore, or maybe I'm just out of touch and our team's not that good. I mean, that's a possibility. I don't know. I love when they do those kinds of charts. I'm a data nerd.
Right.
I think in the past it's usually been about 1 to 2% clear the final boss on heroic. The heroic numbers look like they usually do, but it's the LFR, flex, and normal numbers that are a lot higher than they've ever been.
Well,
which is
what
you want to see.
Overall, I think it was for the first wing, it looked like 75% roughly had cleared the first wing on whatever level, and that is really the number to look at. I think that means that a lot of people are trying this. A lot of people are at least dipping their toes into raiding, which is great. I love seeing that, and I'm glad that people are kind of finding their way into doing this. And I think that for Warlords it'll just get better with all the different changes that they have going on. So
yeah, and the second chart they showed is more indicative of actual raiders. So you've also got people in here that don't raid much. They might RP, they might PvP. They don't raid a whole lot. But the second chart shows participation of players, a percentage of participating players that defeated Siege of Orgrimmar bosses. So that's, if you killed a Mercius, they take that as the kind of litmus test that you're a raider. If you have killed a Mercius, this is the percentage of other bosses that you have killed. So obviously a Mercius is 100%. But then you go down to Garrosh, and of active raiders, again, people that have killed at least a Mercius are considered active. You've got 75% of people have killed it in LFR. For some strange reason,
I know this was.
I don't know why.
This was weird.
Flex is under 50%. So if you are an active raider and you've done flex, you are less likely to have killed it on flex than you have on normal.
Right.
Which is odd. I don't know why that jump is like that. It's like that almost across the board from Galacross on. Flex.
Yeah. Actually,
I mean, maybe it might just be people jumping right into normal and not doing flex.
Right.
Maybe that's it. Because flex is kind of that intermediate step. So if you've done normals in the past and you've always been able to clear them, no problem. You're probably not going to jump into flex. So maybe that's it, but it's still a little strange to see.
Yeah.
But then if you look, it's about 5% of raiders that have killed a boss in Siege of Orgrimmar have killed heroic Garrosh.
Right.
So I'd say yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just the numbers are real weird when you look at some of these things. So almost everyone that has killed normal Mercius and then went on to kill normal Garrosh have then gone back and killed heroic Mercius. And you don't see anything close to that. Nourishing is pretty close. It's almost like 99%, but then everything drops down from there.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of a cool little graph. And was there anything else that was gleaned from that? Maybe Zoopercat, do you have anything else that you saw off this data? Or I mean, because it's just kind of cool to look at it.
It is totally cool to look at. And one of the things we're looking to do with our combat log alpha is to be able to kind of also take those charts, like work with Curse on those charts and like map the eye levels to it.
Oh.
Kind of like, how cool would that be, right? To see of the Garrosh kills, like what's the average item level?
Right.
Right? That would be cool.
That would be cool. I'd actually really like to see that. And I know that we've seen something like that before where people have taken snapshots of like the bleeding edge teams, the Blood Legions and so on, where they took a look at their gear and they said, okay, what did they have when they beat, the final the end boss of this raid? And usually it's a lot lower than when I kill the end boss of the raid on normal.
Yeah.
Those things are so hard to keep track of too, because gear, even after your first kill of it, your gear has changed because you've won something, you've put something on, you've changed everything. But your logging system that you're coming out with is going to do gear snapshotting, isn't it?
Yeah. So as long as anyone who has the in-game add-on installed, it snapshots your gear for every single attempt. So if you change specs or change a trinket during attempts, we know. And so it'd be kind of cool to, we can show people like, hey, your damage is really high, and here's why. Look at this person's gear and things like that, and rank you based on all that good stuff and all sorts of fun things we can do with it.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that's where it's going to be really useful in being able to see exactly who killed it and how they killed it. What gear they used to kill all this stuff. That'll add more useful information in charts like this. So that'll be good.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Now we do have a little bit of clarification from Ian Hazzikostas. Last week he put out the changes for Warlords of Destruction coming up, and he was talking about gear, and we've always kind of had, it sounded like there were going to be two different paths for people to really go for. There was going to be the guys that went through normal dungeons and then went directly into LFR, and that sounded like that was going to be a real option for people. And then those that wanted to go into directly into normals, which is or heroics, again, name changes, so it would be flex mode and normals of today. If you
That's not confusing.
Right, exactly. It's not confusing at all. We've never been confused on this in the last few weeks here or months. But it's one of those things where if you went into heroic dungeons, you could then go into normals and heroic raiding. And he said that still may be true, but the way that gear item levels are going to be going is still going to be normal dungeons, heroic dungeons, LFR, normals, normal raids, and then heroic raids, and then mythic raids. So it's still gonna be the same item levels for this gear that we are familiar with already. The same kind of progression, right? So
yeah, you'll still see the same breakdown. You won't see LFR LFR gear that's a higher eye level than heroic rating gear or anything strange like that. I think that would break the whole thing. So
right. Now, Zoopercat, as far as it goes for you, you're looking at are you looking at all this data right now as far as the gear levels for Warlords?
Yeah, we haven't gotten into the data too hardcore yet. We basically, are going to get that from Curse and then, put it together. We'll do that after we launch the beta here of our combat log thing. Right. But basically, it'll make our algorithm super simple. So gear is actually not going to be a big deal. So then we can tie it in and spend more time on things like the combat logs. But yeah, we've been kind of following it, and I know there's no set bonuses on LFR. Right. It's LFR gear, right? Yep. Right. Yeah. And all sorts of stuff. So we'll have to
do we know numbers yet as far as item level numbers at all?
Not that I've seen. I know there's some people out here who are probably following it closer than I have just because we haven't gotten into the data yet for Warlords. Crossing my fingers for an alpha invite when that's ready. Right. Then, I'll probably, try to get on some raid team and then obsess over the data and try to figure out what to do.
Right.
Yeah, the alpha they released has numbers, but they're not, like Zug and I, we were talking about this the other day. I don't think they're going to stick because one of the sets, one of the tiered levels, the eye level is 666.
Yeah. That probably won't be sticking around.
I don't think that's
right.
gonna.
They'll nudge it to 665.5.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Something like that.
They're gonna have to redo the whole thing because one of them landed on 666.
That's right. You can't.
It's things like that delay the game launch. You know it.
This is why. And this is why the alpha is delayed. No, not really. But I know that some people were freaking out by this revelation that the item levels were not really changing because they were going, oh, now we have to go through LFR to gear up for everything else, and I'm like, and I just took a step back and I went, no, actually that's not true, guys. That is not true. We will not have to go into LFR. We will go from heroic dungeons directly into normals and heroics, those guys that are used to it. Because guess what? LFR doesn't come out that first week. And when it does, it's going to be released in wings anyway. So who cares? Right? So,
and Blizzard even said one of their big deals was that they didn't want you to feel like you had to do LFR.
Right.
Yeah. They've definitely said that there's going to be some kind of catch-up mechanic for people that say you level a new alt. You're not going to have to go to LFR like you do now to get gear. There'll be some other way to do it, to jump into normals, probably heroic dungeons or something like that. But I think the eye levels are going to be a whole lot closer between heroic dungeons and LFR in Warlords than they are now. You're not going to see a 5 or 8 eye level difference between LFR and normal. You're going to see 20 eye levels, something like that.
Right. So don't freak out, guys. I think that we don't have the data yet as far as what the actual numbers are, And my guess is that we'll be just fine. You know, if you're used to doing normals and heroics out of the bat or out of the gate, you'll still be doing that. And from my understanding, too, is that they are planning on actually tuning the first raid so that you'll be able to do that anyway. I believe I saw a tweet earlier in the week from Watcher, from Ian Hazzikostas, talking about that and saying, you know, in Mists of Pandaria, they didn't really have that. You just kind of jumped up into this thing where you just all of a sudden were like thrown to the wolves. But in Warlords, it's going to be a little bit easier. That first raid is going to be there for those guys in heroic dungeon gear. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. And we also have more news on the delay. Well, not really news on the delay itself.
I was like, "Woo, tell me."
Not really news on the delay itself, but that we have a delay. So, Darius, what was Zarheim saying? Now that I'm going back to calling him Zarheim,
yeah, he's gonna love that
for delaying my game. Yeah, he's gonna love that a lot. So, what was he talking about with the delay?
Mr. Zarm came out and basically said, "No soup for you."
Right.
He said that they ran into some problems, and they underestimated the amount of time it was going to take them to actually get a public-facing alpha out there. The one that they released, the blog post they had, all the data they could data mine, they had to put that out because they had to start pushing this stuff out for download for people in Blizzard to use at home, things like that. And they knew as soon as they did that, it was going to get data mined. There was no way around it. So they had to have the blog post to kind of announce it, announce their plans, what was going on. And he kind of got attacked a little bit here via the tweeters by some people about the fact that it's not out, that they announced it and hasn't been out. And they were kind of mean to him.
Oh.
So, yes.
Well, maybe I should be nice to him now.
No.
Maybe I'll just
no.
This
is definitely his fault. This is 100%
all right. I just wanted to
fault.
make sure that everything was on track for me being mean to him. So
no, I had to talk with Celestalon, and he said it's definitely Zarm's fault.
Okay, all right, sounds good. So
we need a blame Zarm sounder.
Yeah, you know, I should just put the blame part in a loop. I'll try it right now. Hold on. Blame. I have to stop and start every time though, so that's not going to work.
That doesn't work.
That's not going to work. No, I don't think so. So now now if the alpha is delayed, when I know that we shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do this anyway. When do you think we'll be seeing invites being thrown out to people? And you know, keeping in mind that we are delayed, so of course this is all just kind of guesstimation. Zoopercat, I'll let you go first.
I think mid-June.
Okay.
Because I think if it was going to come out in the next, couple of weeks, they wouldn't have made the delay announcement. They would have just said, don't tell anybody, just keep quiet and pretend this isn't a problem. So I'm thinking mid to late June.
Okay.
That's my guess.
All right. Darius.
For the first round.
Darius, you go. When are they going to start inviting?
It's definitely my often right prediction. It is definitely going to be next Thursday.
Next Thursday. What is next Thursday? Is next Thursday?
I don't know.
Is that
definitely?
Is that
next Thursday?
I'm excited.
Wait, what is next? What is next Thursday? Is it June? Is it June yet? No, it's not June.
No,
yet. Mm-mm.
It's just next Thursday. My guess is we'll probably see it in we'll probably get 548 in the next 2 weeks, and then a week or two after that, we'll start hearing about alpha invites.
Okay. All right. Well, and my prediction still stands as far as it goes for me. I still think that they're going to try to shoot for the June 3rd date because of WildStar. Of course, they did say that, actually that was addressed in the tweets saying that
what happens with WildStar on June 3rd?
Yeah. Exactly. They said Zarm said flat out, our production schedule and milestones are far more important than whatever else is happening in the industry. June 3rd.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying June 3rd, because they denied it in Twitter. So because they denied it, I'm going to say that it's,
because they said no, you're saying yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Therefore it's true.
Exactly. Of course. And V, your camera froze again. So I
At
don't
least,
know.
at least she's not frozen in a really
It's
weird
not like an
pose this
awkward
time.
pose or anything like
Awesome.
that. But it is frozen. I just thought I'd let you know that.
Am I back?
It's funny because we're having all sorts of tech. We're having
Am I back yet?
No, not yet.
No.
We're having all sorts of tech issues today, and of course, this is the day where I have to tear down my studio. So I'm tearing down my studio like as soon as I can produce this show, but apparently somebody wants me to take the time and edit everything.
Yes.
Like a lot. So
It's Netflix.
it's Netflix. No, it's net neutrality in action. So yeah, that's really great. Hey, there you are. You're back.
Yay.
Hi.
I have to wave in slow-mo because of the
There you
camera's
go.
not good enough to pick it up.
That's right.
You don't want to break
It's like
the
a blur.
internet,
I'm
man.
just that fast.
Oh man. So I think that covers the majority of what's been going on this week. I mean, it's been talking about Warlords. It's been talking about what's coming up with 548 and the other raid and stuff that we've already talked about. So I thought that we would take the rest of the time today to be able to talk to you, Zoopercat, about what's going on with Ask Mr. Robot and really kind of get into what you guys are doing. And there's been also, I was thinking the other day of the last time that we had you on, and it was almost 2 years ago. It was almost like 2 years ago that we had you on, and I'm like, that can't be right. That can't be right, can
Ow.
it? I don't know.
No, I don't believe it.
I don't either. I don't
It
either.
could be.
It could be. Or maybe it was it last year or was it the year before? I don't know. Anyway, it's been a
That
long
would have been
time.
creepy.
It's been a long time, and it was well before you had you know your in-game add-on and all that kind of stuff. How's it going with the in-game add-on that you guys have?
Yeah, pretty awesome. The in-game add-on, does all of your in-game gemming, enchanting, and reforging.
Yeah.
It automatically will do gemming and enchanting. Gemming and reforging. We can't do enchanting because it has a cast time and some, I don't know, technical reason.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the add-on's actually really, really handy. And we want to expand it for Warlords. We have a couple of ideas. Like, for example, how cool would it be if you could make a wish list of gear and then import that into the game so that if a boss drops an item, we pop something up. It's like, hey, this is on your wish list. Make sure you use a bonus roll. Or,
Yes.
yeah. So
needs to
that
be
would be
added.
really cool. Right? I'm like talking about it so that we end up getting enough pressure so that we have to build it. Yeah, so that's really cool. And then now it supports our combat log system. So it'll do auto logging, so you don't forget. And then anyone in your raid who has it installed, that's where we also grab your gear. We snapshot your gear for each attempt. So that should be pretty cool for grabbing all sorts of really cool data.
Wow.
That we can verify. Instead of scraping the armory because you might have changed something, we can verify what you had equipped on every single attempt, as long as those people in your raid have the add-on installed.
Right. So now, okay, so let's get into the combat log and really kind of get to how you guys are breaking away. Obviously with the gear thing, you guys are kind of breaking yourselves out of the rest of the pack. What other features are you guys working on for the alpha? Because this combat, when did you actually start this alpha for combat logs in the first place?
Yeah, so basically when BlizzCon happened last year and they announced that they were taking out reforging, first it's like, oh, and then 5 seconds later you're like, wait, our algorithm is going to be so easy to maintain, because it took 4 months to rewrite that algorithm so we could guarantee that you had the single best optimized solution. That was not an easy feat. So now that's not really going to be a big deal, just because all of these crazy variables are taken out.
Right.
We're like, oh, we can do what we've always wanted to do, which is really cool stuff with combat logs. So then we kind of started throwing around ideas late last year, and then we started working on it in January of this year. And then released the alpha 2 weeks ago now. Yeah, so our goal is to kind of, you remember for gear optimization, you had like RAR. You remember RAR back in the day?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, all those programs, these people put a lot of time into, and they were awesome programs, but they weren't basic enough for, your average user, right? It's like, all right, well, I have to, they're hard to use.
Right.
You'd have a PhD sometimes to use these things.
Didn't Celestalon actually make RAR? Wasn't that?
Did he really?
Yeah,
He's one of the
That's
developers on RAR.
badass.
Yeah, so he was one of the developers of that, and then and he is way too smart. So I mean, I tried to use it, and I can't do it because
it's hard.
I'm stupid. So it's totally it's very difficult. It's not as accessible as you want it to be. Obviously.
And so that's when we ended up making our site because we basically solved a problem we wanted. So we made our site, and we're like, just give it an easy button. We did all the algorithm stuff in the background. We have default stat weights that we use a program to interface with SimC to generate and work with theory crafters, and you can edit your own. But you push one little button, and then it's like, here's what you need to do. And so we kind of want to do that for combat logging. Like right now, I mean, combat logging is way more accessible than RAR was, but you still get a lot of people that don't want to look. It's like, oh, this takes me an hour to find what I want to find out.
Right.
Just because it's not, it's easy. So we kind of want to make these canned reports that are super easy, answer the questions you want to answer in a like super simple interface. And so that's kind of our goal that we're working towards to figure out things. And some people are like, oh, well, I want to be able to do some crazy cool query. And we're like, all right, well, hold on. Before we let you do that, can you tell us what you're trying to solve? Because there's probably a lot of other people that want this too, and we can probably make a canned report, so you don't even have to make that query.
Right. So what kind of canned reports are you finding that you are making for everybody?
Yeah. So the first one that we're working on is the main one. I mean, of course, you've got your DPS and your HPS and the basic views. That's what the alpha has right now.
Mm-hmm.
The first fancy one we did is the buff categorization. So you can see all the buffs you have, and you're always like, what is this random buff that I have? So that's where we categorized it, and it's like, oh, this came from your trinket. Like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, that procced 5 times. Awesome. The other thing we did is, I don't know if you've noticed from using a lot of log sites, but you'll sometimes see like there's 3 different versions of Ice Lance. I don't know, some mage spell.
Oh yeah, because it's like enhanced or something like that.
Right.
So you have like these different versions of it. It's either
Right.
enhanced or nerfed or something. Yeah, along the way.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yep.
So you're always trying to figure out what is this, and so that's where we went through. Grabbed them all, merged them, or relabeled them. Like, so they'll be grouped together, but it'll be like Ice Lance and buffed Ice Lance. And so we're trying to kind of clean up the data to make it a lot, get the basics right. And then the big thing we've been working on for the past week or two is the death analysis, and trying to figure out, well, what do you really want to see with death analysis? And there's, a lot of different situations. Like when you guys look at a log, what are you trying to figure out for death analysis?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's usually the last 10 seconds or so of what happened.
Right.
Where were they taking damage from, and where were they getting heals from? Were they getting heals at all? Were they not getting heals? And what damage was it? Was it this ability? Was it that ability? Kind of what was it? Ultimately, whose fault was it, and what could have been done to prevent it?
Whose fault is it? That's always
it's usually a
thing.
healer's fault.
Shut it!
Usually
I know
a
you
druid's fault.
always try to blame me, you jerk. No, but that is part of it. I mean, it's why did they die? Were they being dumb, or was it that they just weren't getting the heals? Did they run out of the group? What the heck happened to make these guys to kind of start the domino effect of the wipe? So
right. Yeah, and so we're going to try it. We actually are trying to capture all of those things. So we want to have, the timeline, of course, that's like, hey, here's what happened over time. And then we want to kind of show what single ability did the most damage, what ability was the killing blow, but then show things like how much of the damage was avoidable versus unavoidable. And that's where more hand coding from yours truly is going to come in. But that'll be really cool though, right? I mean, like I said, you do it once and it's not going to change, until you have a new raid, right?
until they change everything again. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
In 4 more weeks, patch 5.4.9 is going to change every possibility ever.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so that'll be really cool, right? Because then you can see, if in general your raid's dying because of avoidable damage, well, everyone has to work on mechanics. If people in general are dying because of unavoidable damage, well, you might end up having a healing or a gear problem. And then one cool feature we're working on, we don't know if it'll work. It's an experiment stage right now. Is here's your heals, right? So you know what heals you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're wondering, what was that other healer doing that didn't heal me? Was he slacking? Was he healing the guy at 90%? Or was he healing somebody that actually needed it? And so we kind of want to show a side-by-side view that shows.
I don't know if I
here's
like
what this guy was doing.
I don't
I
know.
like that.
I don't know if I like
I
this
like
one.
that.
Healer too.
As a healer, I don't know if I like this one at all.
I know. I'm a healer too, and I'm like, oh god, I don't want to see the report on myself. I'm gonna look awful.
Accountability on healers. I like it.
Druids already don't look great in 25-man raids, so I mean, I don't want me to look even worse. No.
Well,
I'm
and
seeing-
that's one thing
what
we're
Zug
trying.
just spent the entire poll healing himself.
Right.
Jeez.
That's
That's one thing we're also trying to solve too. We haven't come up with the perfect solution yet, but we're throwing around ideas on, especially druid healers. Being a druid healer myself, I'm like, well, I'm going to have a lot of overhealing, and it's because people are sniping my hots. If you just left those people alone,
I know.
I know there's not more damage. I know my rejuve is going to get them, but no, everyone's like, oh, I'm going to snipe your hot, and we kind of want to see if there's a way to detect this, and because then your team can maybe figure out how to do healing, right? It's like, well, maybe we need to give me, the druid healer, three people that I get to hot, and nobody else gets to snipe those people. They're my responsibility. Something to kind of fix it, right?
Right.
I know right now it's not a huge deal because everyone just spams AoE, but I think in Warlords, more healing synergy is going to be a really big deal. I mean, you remember back in the day, you had healing assignments, right? Like,
Yeah,
we
no,
weren't the
I-
only team,
I-
right?
yeah,
And now
yeah.
you don't.
Right.
Like, when's the last time you had a healing assignment? I tried to do healing assignments, and my raid team's like, "Oh, stop!"
You never do unless you're on progression and you're having issues.
Right.
That's the only
Yeah.
time you ever do it, and then you're like, okay, just because we're spread out over 40 yards, you go over that way and you take care of the tanks. Okay, sounds good.
Yes,
Whatever it is.
exactly.
So.
Yeah, and we're also trying to figure out cool things for tanks to show too. For the tank views and all sorts of good stuff. So we're really trying to answer a lot of the questions that haven't been answered yet with combat logs. I mean, you can answer it, like you could go through right now in some of these log sites and look up every single healer and find out what they were doing during that 10-second window, but that's going to take you 20 minutes.
Right.
I
want to
I
show
like
you
this
in
tank
30
stuff.
seconds.
What's
I like integrating the TMI thing, the damage smoothness thing from Thek.
Yeah.
I really like the fact that you're going to show mitigation, so I can see what abilities are. I can look at any of the log things and see this is the damage I actually took, but I like the fact that I can see the damage that I might have taken. Had I not done something, or had done something differently. So I really like that. A good breakdown on that would be, as a prop paladin, I'm using Shield of Righteous. How much of that damage did I actually mitigate because of that thing?
Right.
Or should I be using something else more? That'd be really interesting. But I like it.
Cool.
I like where this is going.
Yeah, so we have all sorts of really cool ideas. It's just a matter of getting them to work. And I mean, they haven't been done before because they do take a lot of time. And we're just kind of thinking at it, from a user perspective, like, what do I want to see? Instead of just, cloning one of the sites. It's like, well, no, I admit I don't use combat log sites that often. We have somebody in our raid who logs, and I look at it very occasionally. And we want to change that it's like, you go to this tool, and in 60 seconds, you can figure out how to improve. Like, that simple. That's our main goal.
Gotcha. Now, how many guys are you actually supporting right now in the alpha? What kind of numbers are you looking at for that?
So we have about 250 people right now in the alpha. And then in the next wave, I think I have a list of like 150 more that we're adding in. And we're only keeping in the alpha just to work out major bugs.
Okay.
And then once that's done, hold on, I have to plug in my computer here. Once that's done, we're going to open up to beta. We're not going to probably advertise it on the website. Instead, we're just going to kind of, tweet it and tell people, hey, if you want to get it, here it is.
Right.
But then that way, you can still work out all of the bugs. But then everyone can see reports. Because right now, anyone who's in the alpha, they're like, oh, I wanted to share it with my guild. I'm like, cool, right. They don't have permission to see it. But it's just to work out
a lot of
crazy
screenshots.
bugs.
Take a lot of screenshots and then send it out that way.
Yeah, we hope to go, open beta early June. That's the goal.
That's
It's,
pretty quick.
The same day WildStar is getting released.
Yes, right. That's it. We don't want the WildStar competition messing with our combat log.
Right. No, you don't. You got to give something new for folks.
Right.
That's cool. That's cool. And anybody can sign up for the alpha right now, right? So anybody can.
Yeah. You just email feedback@askmrrobot.com.
Okay. Cool.
All I need is your email. and then I just add you to the list. I can only do so many at a time because I'm manually emailing out the invites.
Oh, wow.
Because our developer wrote a program that like makes the IDs because we have to make a separate beta account for people.
Right.
And he's, you know, we're like, oh, the alpha's not going to be that big. He's like, whatever, you can do this by hand. I'm like, yeah, I can do it by hand. Who cares? It's 100 people. And then so many people have been interested that it's like, well, it's too late now. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
So what else is coming up as you develop this? What can you see come from this that maybe you guys are working towards that maybe isn't quite there yet? What is still being worked on in the background of this new thing for you guys?
Yeah, there's really a lot you can do with it. We have all sorts of crazy ideas floating around, you know, things for like, the first one we probably can actually realistically get to would be comparison. So, you know, one of the big things you do is you try to improve and you look up somebody else in your raid. You know, if you have another warlock, you know, if you're a warlock and you look another guy up, that's cool. But you might be like, well, he has 10 item levels on me, you know, so I don't really know how to compare damage. Well, the first thing we'll be able to do is compare that damage and be like, well, we know that you're performing in the 80th percentile for your current gear because we'll have all this data, right? If you were in the 80th percentile and you had 10 more item levels, here's where we would predict your DPS would be, and then you can kind of see
that's
how
cool.
you compare, right?
Yeah,
right.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That's
it like gives you context, right? Otherwise,
Right.
I don't know if my 80,000 damage. Can you tell I'm a healer? I think 80,000 damage is really, DPS is probably.
That's about what Zug does.
Right.
as a
So then it gives you
boomkin.
context.
I was doing okay with Boomkin. I
Right,
just
yeah,
don't have
I'm pretty bad
trinkets.
in
Come
Boomkin
on.
too.
Come on. I just don't have the trinkets yet. I was doing fine.
Right. And one of the other things we want to do is help you find somebody to compare to. So it's like, okay, I'm in this item level and I have 2 really good trinkets and I have my 4-piece set bonus. Give me another warlock that has the same setup as me. And give me like a warlock in the top 1% and show me what he's doing. And so we can kind of find people for you to help, you know, compare yourself.
Whoa.
Because sometimes you play different, right? Like if you have a 4-piece set bonus versus a 2, like sometimes the warlocks like or whoever will change up their rotations. Well, if you're looking at, you know, these other sites and you're like, oh, I'm gonna look at the top warlock and I'm gonna compare and I'm gonna do exactly what he's doing. Well, if you don't have the 4-piece set bonus, you shouldn't be playing like that guy's playing.
Seriously, I think you just blew my mind. I think that was I think you totally did right there. So I mean, so it sounds like there's going to be. I'm looking
Super
forward
cool
to this.
stuff.
You're putting me in the alpha, right? You're putting both of us in the.
I meant to have you guys in the alpha before.
All
We
right,
just didn't do this.
I kept checking it all week, and I was like, I can't wait to test this. I can't. Oh.
I know. I feel so bad. I was totally close to giving you my login because it's not like it's a secret login. You know, it's like whatever. Who cares if you guys use it? It's a some 20-digit auto-generated password or whatever. Yeah, and then we have other cool things we want to kind of do once Warlords comes out, like boss-specific stuff to try to help teams. So if you take the Shaw, can you tell? I haven't raided for 3 weeks, and here's what happens. Shaw of Pride is the one that like spits all those little
things on the ground,
purple things at you, and you have to close them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the one.
I'm giving us a lot of credibility right now.
Hey, nice work. Nice work.
I mean, so our team, I'm always like, I'm the healer, so I'm always watching all the debuffs. And I'm like, guys, close these. I know some of you don't have the debuff. Go get it. But what I want to know is our team good at closing these in general? Or is our team bad? I don't know what's good, to be honest, right? Because we can kill him without closing a whole lot of these.
Right.
So we kind of want to look at those and also give stats on that. So it'll be like, well, of the people who've killed it, here's on average how many they close in, per minute or whatever, because you can't, depending on the length of the fight. Or look at things like, of the people who've killed it and they're the lowest DPS, like say it's the worst kill to like set the bar, it's like, they only close 3. So if you're not closing them, this team has proven it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
So kind of look at like boss specific mechanics to help raid teams figure out, because that's the hard part. You're progressing and you're figuring out what is our problem. What do we have to focus on? Should we close more rifts or should we heal through the rifts?
Right. How can we cheese this encounter more? That's what you want to.
It'll be the Mr. Robot cheese meter.
Right. Right.
Are you going to have the ability to password or make logs private?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because what
that
you'll
was
see
actually
is
one.
like the first 2-3 weeks of the race for world, to world first, you're going to see all of these locked now because people are going to be testing out all these little things that usually are really hard to find in logs, but are probably going to show up in this kind of thing. So this would be real interesting.
At first, we weren't going to do private logs because we were like, well, if you're only hiding it because you're trying to make sure people can't see if you're bad, well, we don't want you to do that. Because we want to, have like the aggregate data and help you and like help you improve and have your teammates help you improve. But then we had a bunch of people asked on Twitter. I'm like, you never know. Twitter can be smart. And people they mentioned that specific thing, the progression guilds. And we're like, oh, right. And then a couple of other reasons. We're like, oh, like poaching. I guess poaching is a big deal. Like if you've got good players on your team.
Sure.
Yeah. So we decided we'll make it private and it'll be, you upload it. And then you just get a link and you can share it with your team. So anybody with the link can see it. Otherwise you can't. And the links, will have those 20-digit whatever. You're not going to guess these links.
Well, and here's another question, especially for those guys that are looking at and this may be for progression just in general, or it could be for those guys that do multiple logs for a particular group. Maybe you're spread out. Your team is spread out over the course of a fight. Mm-hmm. Are you doing anything where you can combine logs to get true combat data at all? Know what I mean?
Not yet. I do know what you mean. Like spoils is a big one.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Not yet. We're actually trying to wait to see what the Warlords bosses end up looking like.
Okay.
Log merging is actually a serious pain. We did it for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because that was the only thing you could do. But the problem with the Warcraft logs themselves is that the timestamps are based on your computer and your server lag or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So if, it's not as simple as, well, if you're in Central Time Zone and I'm in Pacific Time Zone, merging the two, they won't actually match if you have like a slightly different lag than I do. It's not a server number, it's a local computer number. And so merging them actually becomes a serious issue because you have to put in a lot of logic and a little bit of guessing to kind of get those numbers to match. So we have to end up getting really clever, right? Yeah, so you have to probably get clever and like maybe only merge specific fights. It's like, okay, if it spoils, we're going to merge it. Otherwise, we're going to assume it's the same. And try to figure out like what on earth you would do to make that work.
Right. Gotcha.
So there's a reason nobody's doing it right now. It's, those logs are tough.
Yeah. Yeah. That's any other cool stuff? I mean, like when you saw let's talk about Warcraft logs real quick because they are kind of like the new hotness in logging. Are you taking any of their ideas and using it for your stuff, or are you just kind of, I mean, like the cool thing about those guys is that you can actually like play the fight and you can see where everybody's standing. And are you going to be doing anything like that where you can?
Yeah. So we started this, a long time ago and had a lot of our, really cool, ideas, like all the reports and everything we just talked about. And what we really want to do, because he put a lot of time into the replay system. Yeah. And then he also put a lot of time into the queries and like the pins. If you've used the site, he actually has a really cool system that he spent a lot of time on. And we want to try to leave it so that he can differentiate, or we can differentiate, whoever's doing the differentiating. And he put a lot of time into that. So we don't want to duplicate it. Now, that's not to say we won't ever do combat replay, but if we did it, it would be because we want to do something that he's not doing and it's specific to one of the reports or something like that, right? So we're, if we do it, it would be something specific and cool. It wouldn't just be like a whole replay system. It would be like, hey, here's a tiny little snapshot we think you might want to see.
Oh, gotcha. So so it'd be like slow-mo. It would be like slow motion replay, like NFL style.
Yes.
Where you go, and here's what you heroes did here. And
right. Which is one of the ideas we had.
Yeah. No, I got it.
For that death analysis, if you were trying to see what the other healers are doing, well, we can show a side-by-side view, in a chart. But it would be kind of cool to just have a super slow-mo, like here's 10 seconds. We're spreading it out over 30 seconds. And, you have like a healer line. You can see like this healer slow mode healed that guy.
Right.
And then show like a health bar above that guy. So you can see how much, wait, he just healed somebody at 90%. Why do you do that?
Right. That's cool.
So if we do, that's lower on the list. Yeah, it's lower on the list because we want to get like the other ones we were talking about, like the percentile rankings or you're in the 80th percentile. How do you compare and things like that? We want to do first.
Right.
And there's also too like if we don't build replay stuff or have a query system, it's not hard to upload to 2 sites, and so don't even mind that there's like there's a second site. It's like, okay, so we don't have replay. Go upload to his site. It's good.
Competition is always good for the consumer.
Right, exactly. It's totally true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I know that we do have a few questions from some listeners and stuff like that, and one of them was pretty obvious because we've been talking about it this entire time, so I'm not going to ask that one, but we'll move on. Baloney Ninja, it's not me, asks, and then we lost Dairies again.
I'm here.
I'm here, but I got the lost
I lost
call
your
too.
video.
It says group video is unavailable at the moment.
Mine said that too.
You got to be kidding me. This is a video show. What are we doing?
Well, I mean, my camera's
Skype.
still on, so I can watch myself.
So is mine.
I don't know if mine is.
I don't want to watch you. Oh, it's coming back.
It's coming back.
Hello?
It's coming back. This show.
My hand is
ahead.
giant.
This show.
Why am I ahead?
I don't know.
What'd you do? That's
You
your
gotta turn
side.
your camera back on. Mine turned
No,
off.
I don't. My button.
There it is.
Button do.
Okay, world. Okay, internet. You
So
listen
Baloney
up.
Ninja.
You start playing nice, world. Okay. So, and I'll do a different cut here. Edits. So, Baloney Ninja asks, will we get a AMR, Ask Mr. Robot, like website for Diablo 3? Diablo 3.
We would love to. We would
Yeah.
absolutely love to because the game's fun.
Right.
But oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, what you're also in Star Wars, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we currently do Star Wars. We
other
had League
games?
of Legends, but we actually officially stopped that site because we could not keep up because they have a new hero every like 3 weeks. Yeah. So there's 3 people who work at Mr. Robot. So we're actually lucky enough to make this, or crazy enough to make this our full-time job. So we all
Right.
quit our jobs a few years ago and we're like, let's do this.
Right.
And then I ate some bologna ninja sandwiches.
Right.
Anyway,
Right.
it's cheap. No.
I don't know.
So anyway, so it's 3 of us full time, but even that, so it's a developer, designer, and then I handle like all of the business side of things and the people. So my job's more fun. Anyway, so anyway, we just don't have time to build extra websites. We've learned.
Right.
We're like, this will be easy. Like Warcraft's going to be on cruise mode, and then we're going to build League of Legends because we play it all the time. No, it doesn't work like that, unfortunately.
No.
And Star Wars, the only reason we're keeping Star Wars up is there's still no Star Wars version of the Armory.
Oh, really?
You cannot look your character up anywhere except our site, and you have to build it on our site because there's no Armory API because there's no Armory. So can you imagine having to build like every piece of gear, putting in every gem and everything? The people do it, and it's the only place people are able to talk about and share their character. So we leave it up. We scrape the data, put the data live, and they have a lot of junk items, like just items that are like don't exist, but it's in the data, but not in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just like, here it is. You guys have to sift through it. We don't have time to maintain it. But like as a gamer, we just can't shut the site down because how would you feel if you had no way to?
Tough. It's tough, man.
So we won't be doing D3, even though we would love to.
Oh man. And then One Keys One asks about garrisons. Are you going to be doing anything with garrisons for Warlords that you know of?
Probably not. Probably not, because I just don't know if there will be a whole lot of optimization or need for tools.
Okay.
It'll probably be as simple as like, hey, here's a guide. Like if you like somebody else's guide, because we don't write content. Like a guide on icy veins or something that's like, hey, if you send a guy out to mine ore, it takes 2 days. If you send him to mine really good ore, it takes 3 days. We've figured out the conversion, and you should always send him out for 3. Like something like that. You read it once, you're done.
Oh man. All right. And then the last one is from Just Plain Creepy in chat right here, and he asked, or she, not sure which. Why does the robot say to make a change? And I'm guessing this is for the website right now for all the optimization stuff. And then when I do that, it says change back.
So there's pretty much only one option unless there's a bug, and if there is, tell us, or send us a link to your profile. Sometimes there's actually two ways to get to the very best solution. And by solution, it's score, right? So if you score 56,000 points and that's the single best solution, there actually might be another option to get you to exactly 5,600 points. And so sometimes the robot just gets confused and wants to change it on you, or maybe he doesn't like you and wants to mess with you. That's happened. Yeah. And if the score isn't changing or is changing and one of them's clearly worse, save a link to your profile and send it to us. Sometimes you have to refresh the cache and it's that simple. Other times maybe there's like an amplification trinket that, although we think they're covered, could be throwing it off.
And
right?
you guys have been really great and on top of things with trinkets and with just kind of the optimization in general. I know that it's become, it went from something where people were saying, oh, well, you can go to Ask Mr. Robot and if you want to, if you're a casual player or whatever. but now I'm finding that everybody's just saying, go there, just do that. And with the add-on that you have in game, it makes it so much easier to do things. So much easier just to say, okay, I'm going to reforge. How do I want to reforge? I can plug in my stats and go, this is what I want it to be. And then the robot comes back and says, well, do this. And I'm like, okay, perfect.
I love it. Because I can go in and without even doing too much, I can go in and change my own stat weights and say, your stuff's good, but this is what I want. This is what I need here. Shadow Priest, I want 50% haste based on these criteria, blah, blah, blah. And I save it. And from then on, all the gear I get, everything I want to change, it's just dead simple. And then I click one button on the add-on and I've got everything. And
you did something recently and it was sneaky because I didn't see any announcement about this or anything like that, but you changed the way that haste breakpoints are look on your site, right? So now instead of just saying, well, you can customize your stats, now you're doing like the visual thing, like the
picker.
Yeah, these spells will get an extra tick if you go up to here. Blah.
Well, and that's another thing where we just try to think about things differently and solve problems that we're having ourselves, right? I remember looking up haste breakpoints for my boomkin, and I could never remember, ever remember. Right. And then I'm like, great, I need 29,354. People don't do that. It's not the right number. Anyway, I'd be like, this is the number I need. And then I'm like, wait, what does that even get me? I really don't know. And then you have to go Google and find some guide. And so we're like, well, we know because we have a program that just ran all the haste breakpoints. Why don't we share that information with everybody? And so we just put in the haste picker. And, all these theory crafters do a ton of work. And so, they usually recommend like one of two options. But, maybe, like for a restoration druid, that things. Oh, another beautiful post.
Yeah, exactly. You roboted out there for a second.
Oh, sorry.
So anyway, what did you say? I'm sorry.
I said, yeah, so normally, theory crafters will give you one or two options for your haste breakpoint. And, but for, like a resto druid, you have Soul of the Forest. Yeah. Or maybe you don't. And so, all these theory crafters are coming up with these lists of, well, if you're a troll, you could do this. If you have Soul of the Forest, you do that. All these different options. And so we just have a thing where you turn Soul of the Forest on or off, and we tell you, oh, here are the different options. You can pick what you want and understand where your haste breakpoints are coming from. Then, like what they get you.
That's cool. Cool. I like the new look of that for sure because that just makes it so much easier for me. However, the internet right now is not playing nice.
I know.
And so that's
and now the sun is making me glow too.
That's making it tough. Yeah, you look like one of the you look like one of the characters from Cocoon when they reveal themselves.
That's old school.
I know it's totally old
school.
I
don't remember anything about that.
I'm old school, so that's all.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
the oldest.
I am.
Maybe if I back up a little.
So yeah. Any other questions, Dairies, that you have for about Ask Mr. Robot about what's coming up or anything like that?
No, I think she did a really good job covering most of the questions I had or was going to ask. So.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this combat logging system goes. It sounds like you're on the right track for what you need to do, which is to answer questions. Right? So you're trying to solve problems and get those questions that people are asking, actually answered easily.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. and help people improve, because that's why people are using these, to help people improve, or a whole raid team, right? Like, everyone died. Why? Whose fault is it?
Right.
And just try to figure out, how can we fix this?
Are you going to be actively taking suggestions once this goes live for new things, or have a way to?
Yeah, definitely. So, because we want to know, I mean, there's a lot of different uses, right? Like we learned from the privacy issue. We thought, well, the only reason you want to private is if you weren't very good or something, and you were like, oh, I don't want people to tease me. And then we're like, oh, right, guild progression, because we're not a world first guild. Right. We're a world second guild. I mean, we're always
wait, what? You're not world first?
But we didn't think of that perspective. And so, same with reports, right? I mean, people might be like, oh, well, here's what we're trying to learn in our team. Oh, cool. Thank you. So we're always taking that kind of feedback to try to figure out what to do and help everybody.
Cool. Well, I think because of internet issues and so on and so forth, I think I'm just gonna call it for the day. And because I have to edit all this crap together and also move in the process.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So I move on Tuesdays when all this stuff has to be out of the house, and the studio is still all set up because I have to do the show. So
right.
And now I have to edit for about 15 hours.
Oh.
Not really that long. Not really that long. And there goes the cat again.
It's
the start and the end of the show. It's the cat. That's what it is. So why don't we get the heck out of here? But before we do, let's do some 5-star reviews. Darius, what do we have for 5 stars this week?
Hold on, I gotta find my mouse. It's buried under cat.
The cat has it.
We've got NVYD7D. Yes, thank you. Iceberg 55. Slayer McSlayerton. Raphael MSPT. Cursed Monkey, and Flack.
Or maybe it's Flacque.
Or maybe, yes, maybe it's French.
Maybe it is.
Maybe you're right.
I don't know. But thank you guys for all the 5 stars on iTunes. Really appreciate it. Thank you for all the great comments on Gamer TV and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. Any shout outs this week at all? I know that I have a shout out to my movers before they come here. Thank you very much for doing a great job and for not breaking anything. That's what I'm thinking. But we cannot do this show without you guys. Thank you for taking the time, as always. And now I'm just going to bail out on the music. There we go. And I'm going to play, let's see, this one. That's a good one to go out on.
Jazzy.
Yes, got to do the jazzy stuff. But if you guys want to get a hold of us for any reason, you can do that real easy. Email us at converttораid@gmail.com. You can call and leave comments and questions on our raid line, 612-787-RAID. That's 612-787-7243. You can follow us on Twitter at converttораid, or even individually. Isn't that right, Dairies?
Oh, yes. You can follow Pat Krane at Pat Krane with a K. Mm-hmm. You follow Coltrane, who's not here and may never come back.
Well, he's in Russia.
We think.
He should be back. But go ahead. How do you tweet him?
It's V_Coltrane with a K. And you've got me. I'm Dairies, and it's at BoredMind with no K. And I don't know the tweeter information for the robot.
Zoopercat, what? Go ahead.
At Ask Mr. Robot. That's simple.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And you are at Zoopercat, right?
Yes, at Zoopercat, which I made the account, 6 months ago, and then decided to revive it.
That's cool.
Week. So if you tweet at me, it'll give me a reason to keep it active.
Right. So do it. Why not? Sure. Go for it.
Yeah.
Now I know that we were having some live stream issues today, but thank you guys for those guys in the crowd that have stuck with us. I know that there were some sound issues, whatever, but thank you guys. And if you guys want to join the Bazooba Guabo Nation, you can head over to converttораid.com, where we have show downloads, forums, tons of links for raiders, and so much more. It's all over at converttораid.com. Our live feed, when it's working, and the video show, which will be working. It will be working.
Yeah. Don't worry.
It'll all be spliced together perfectly. That's all over at gamebreaker.tv. Please make sure to watch, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. And the audio show is over at Stitcher, the BlackBerry Podcast Directory, iTunes, all sorts of different places like that. And that is going to be it for the show. Now, one little thing. I don't think we're going to have a show next week. I really don't think we're going to have a show next week.
I am definitely not going to be on the show if you do have a show next week. So,
yes, because you won't be here. I will still be moving and all that kind of stuff. And Coltrane's going to be decompressing from his trip to Russia.
I'm going to be on a boat in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, awesome. Well, and that is going to be it for the show. We will see you in 2 weeks. We hope you had a good time, learned some stuff about Ask Mr. Robot, and it was really great to have you here, Zoopercat. Really appreciate all the great information that you provided. Thanks for coming on the whole show.
Yeah, and we'll, have to do it sooner than either 1 or 2 years.
I know.
Even if it was only 1 year. That's
was it only 1 year? God, it feels like forever ago. It feels like forever ago.
It does feel like forever ago.
I
know I had like that one I used, maybe it's because I feel like since I used your audio that one time for our little add-on.
Oh, right.
Maybe this way it feels like it wasn't as long ago.
That was pretty cool
that was
because
still
that was a while ago, wasn't it? When the add-on
was still at least November, if not longer.
Yeah, because it was.
Yeah.
You haven't been on the show since I've been on, and I've been on about a year now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's been over a year for sure.
Like every few months, minimum.
Right. All right.
We'll chat.
That's going to do it for the show. We hope you guys had a good time, and thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on our next show in 2 weeks at our regular time, Sunday, 11 a.m. Central, assuming that the new command center is in place. Now, for all the guys that convert to raid, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.